Tonight on NewsWatch, nuclear fears explode. Another blast at a Japanese power plant and problems with another reactor has some fearing the worst.
Plus, families in chaos. Many people in Japan return empty-handed to homes that no longer exist.
And a family murdered. The killings of a Jewish family create a big international incident in the Middle East. All this and more tonight on NewsWatch. Japan reeling from two devastating natural disasters, now facing a nuclear crisis. Good evening, I'm Lee Webb.
And I'm Wendy Griffith. Rescuers are scouring the rubble, searching for survivors. The death toll from the earthquake and tsunami now thought to be more than 10,000. These satellite images show how the landscape of the region has changed forever. The startling before and after shots show water where land used to be, smoke from raging fires, and brown earth where green vegetation once was.
There are two major concerns tonight in Japan: coping with the huge scope of the humanitarian disaster and nuclear fears now from three crippled reactors.
That's where we'll start our coverage tonight. Jennifer Wishon is following the story from our Washington bureau. Jennifer, how dangerous is the nuclear situation?
Well, Wendy, the Prime Minister of Japan is calling this his country's worst crisis since World War II. Japanese officials say the fuel rods in three of the most troubled nuclear reactors appear to be melting. Of the three troubled nuclear reactors, Japanese officials are most concerned about Unit 2. Its water levels dropped today, completely exposing the uranium fuel rods twice.
Think of a car that's spinning out of control. You hit the brakes don't work. The backup systems don't work. The radiator then begins to blow up.
Japanese workers are pumping seawater into the reactors in a last-ditch effort to keep them cool. It will render them unusable after the crisis passes, but U.S. experts say it's the best strategy at this point. Nearby, a hydrogen explosion rocked Unit 3, but it was not as dire as it appears in this video. Officials say the blast released pressure built up inside and did not harm the reactor's critical outer shell. A separate reactor, Unit 1, suffered an explosion on Saturday.
We are at a reactor tipping point. Either over the next 24 to 48 hours, they're going to get control of these reactors, or we'll get meltdown at one or more reactors, a completely unprecedented situation.
One of the men who helped design the reactors says he thought they had taken adequate precautions, but the magnitude of the earthquake and tsunami were beyond his expectations. Saturday, 185,000 people near the reactors were evacuated, and although Japanese officials say they have not detected dangerous levels of radiation, anyone left within a 12-mile radius has been ordered to stay indoors. The USS Ronald Reagan shifted positions after a helicopter crew delivering supplies to victims was exposed to low levels of radiation. The crew was declared contamination-free after scrubbing with soap and water. Some experts are calling this the nuclear industry's worst nightmare, especially as some push for more nuclear energy here in the U.S. There are 104 existing nuclear reactors in this country, and today energy officials say they're confident that America's reactors are safe and built to withstand devastating events like a tornado, tsunami, or earthquake. However, Wendy, officials stopped short of saying whether U.S. plants could withstand a quake as strong as the one that hit Japan.
It really is a nightmare, Jennifer. Is the Obama administration concerned that radiation leaks in Japan could affect people here in the U.S.?
Well, the chairman of the Nuclear Regulatory Commission spoke at the White House today, and he said that he does not foresee any scenario in which Americans here in the U.S. will be affected by any leaks in Japan. So we'll just hope that he is correct in that assessment.
Absolutely. Jennifer Wishon in our newsroom tonight. Thanks so much.
Japan is overwhelmed by the scale of this disaster. Hundreds of thousands are homeless and in need of food and water. Millions are without power, all while rescue teams search the rubble for survivors. Here's John Jessup.
Japan is now in its fourth day after the earthquake, which caused this massive wall of water to topple dry land, destroying most everything in its path. And with each new day, the toll that the devastation has caused becomes clearer. Some victims are returning to what were their homes, unable to recognize anything. This man's house is still standing. He found dead fish in his first-floor bathroom, but the second floor is still dry. He says, if we had electricity, we could stay here, but aftershocks are still strong, so I'm staying with relatives. For others, the painful reality of their loss is just now beginning to settle in. So many friends died, this woman says. So many people I know died. In one town, the death toll is so high, they were running out of body bags. By the government's count, about 400,000 people are homeless and in makeshift shelters. But even those whose homes managed to withstand the earthquake and raging waters are still affected. Millions have gone days without electricity. Surviving was one feat. Now they endure the challenge of finding the basics, waiting in unbearably long lines for hours for food, water, and fuel.
I don't know if it's good or bad that I survived.
Still, survival stories are being told. People seeking safety on rooftops are spelling out SOS on top of a hospital to attract helicopters, scouting for anyone to rescue. These 3 elderly people were found trapped in this muddy car for 23 hours. Japan estimates 12,000 people have been rescued so far, from the youngest and most impressionable to the oldest victims, like the 60-year-old man who lost his home and his wife in the tsunami, but was found alive clinging to pieces of what was his roof for 2 days. This 30-year-old survivor says, "My relatives and friends are missing after the tsunami destroyed the village. They were all washed away." Nations from around the world are lending their hands to help with aid and in the search and rescue.
It is our honor to be here and to work alongside the teams here within Japan to provide assistance to those who have been affected.
For years, Japan has been preparing for major earthquakes, running practice drills and implementing building codes. But in many ways, it could not fully prepare for something like this. The cost of this natural disaster is expected to reach up to $100 billion or more. But the total impact could take months, if not years, to fully grasp. John Jessup, CBN News.
Ken Joseph is with the Christian relief agency, the Japan Emergency Team. He's in Sendai, where more than 70,000 people are living in shelters. We spoke with him earlier by phone.
We have here a lot of people that escaped from the area that the tsunami hit. So, a lot of them have some pretty crazy stories of just getting, carried off by the water. And today, the one area that these people came from, they found, I think, 300-400 bodies just, in the remains of the tsunami. And they're really just, it sounds really hard to say this, but no help is coming. We've been here for 4 days, and I'm looking outside here, there's like 2 trucks sitting here, and that's it. There's no food, no water, no nothing. We just had a meeting, another meeting talking about any hope for gasoline coming in, is there any hope for supplies coming in, and the government people just say, well, we don't know any more than you do. So, and people are getting pretty upset. I was just in in one place, and a couple people just lost it and just about beat up one of the, the government officials.
Some good news. Ken also tells us the Sendai area has several churches that are stepping forward to give spiritual support to victims.
Here in the U.S., Japanese churchgoers spent the weekend trying to connect with loved ones in the island nation. Not always an easy task. Hida Hirasegawa is a Japanese student getting his Ph.D. at North Carolina State University in Raleigh. This Sunday, his church service was filled with prayer for his family and friends back home. With phone lines down, he says it took 2 days for him to get word that his family is alive.
They're safe and okay, but I heard that they're still out of power and water, and they cannot watch TV after the earthquake, so they don't know what's going on, and they still experience the aftershocks.
In Los Angeles, Japanese Americans gathered at a prayer service. Their pastor says the Japanese community has a special need to unite at this time.
The tragedy has been so overwhelming in scope that people feel helpless in the face of it. There's a need to be around other people who have the same kinds of sympathies.
Church members say that talking and praying together is helpful as they watch this disaster unfold from across the Pacific Ocean. We may never know the huge human cost the earthquake will have on Japan, but some are already adding up the financial toll on the world's 3rd largest economy. Their stock market dropped more than 6% today. Japan's central bank had to inject $184 billion into money markets to protect the already fragile economy. Initial reports say repair costs could be more than $100 billion. That would add to a national debt that is already the worst among the industrialized nations.
U.S. and global relief agencies are responding to the quake. Millions of people will once again spend tonight without water, food, or heat. The temperatures along the northeast coast are near freezing. The United States, New Zealand, and South Korea are some of the many countries sending in relief teams. The U.S. aircraft carrier, the USS Ronald Reagan, is sitting off the coast and flying in food and supplies to survivors. Today, President Obama pledged to stand by Japan during this time.
The United States will continue to offer any assistance we can as Japan recovers from multiple disasters. And we will stand with the people of Japan in the difficult days ahead.
CBN's Operation Blessing is responding to the disaster. The relief group has people on the ground. They are meeting with church and government leaders to evaluate the needs and see how to help. To learn how you can support Operation Blessing's work in Japan, just go to our website, cbnnews.com.
Coming up, a legal battle ends. The fight for same-sex marriage in Maryland is over, but will it begin again next year?
If you're an individual group or business needing a dental plan, Avia Dental offers group plans for as little as $5 per month. Now members of your group can save up to 50% or more off a high-quality dental care. Everyone qualifies, and there's no waiting or limits on visits to the dentist. Visit aviadental.com or call 1-888-431-CARE. Avia Dental since 1994. Smile, you're with people who care.
How will you survive this recession? What if you lose your job, your income? The answers are in this new book, Survivor's Guide to a Recession 50 States. It outlines free assistance you can get now that will reveal unique ways to make additional income, outline ways to save more money, uncover amazing resources for finding free food and clothing, locate incredible discounts of 75% or more, good in all 50 states, and now only $14.95. Get yours today while supplies last. Survivor's Guide to a Recession 50 States.
Attention investors, now is the time to protect your retirement accounts and investments. Excessive government spending is devaluing the US dollar and high rates of inflation are coming. Gold has tripled since 2001 and some experts predict the prices will climb another 100%. Buy gold now, direct and wholesale with United Gold Group. The demand for gold around the world is higher than ever. Foreign countries like China and India are buying up gold at record rates. Why? What do they know that you don't?
Call now and get your Gold Investors Kit absolutely free. Call in the next 5 minutes and receive The Secret to Owning Gold in Your Retirement Account, also absolutely free. Just call 1-800-758-5070. That's 1-800-758-5070.
This could be the most important call you make this year. United Gold Group, investing in America's future.
Israelis are in shock after the weekend murder of 5 members of one family.
The attack is being described as one of the worst in recent years, and it prompted a quick response from Israeli officials. Julie Stahl has that story now from Jerusalem.
Israel approved the building of up to 500 new homes in Jewish communities in Judea and Samaria on Sunday in a classic response to the brutal terror attack on a family in the settlement of Itamar. Palestinian terrorists broke into the Fogel family home on Friday evening and stabbed to death the mother, father, and 3 children.
They all had their throats slit. They were sleeping in their beds and they were savagely murdered by animals.
Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas condemned all violence against civilians, but Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the statement was weak and called for a swift worldwide reaction.
The international community that so quickly rushes to condemn Israel over a building here or a building there, for some reason takes its time in condemning this savagery.
He also lambasted the Palestinian Authority for talking peace while inciting to violence.
They allow incitement of hatred and violence against Israel in their schools, in their mosques, in their state-controlled media. This has got to end.
Julie Stahl, CBN News, Jerusalem.
A military force from Saudi Arabia and other Gulf nations has moved into Bahrain. The troops are there to back the Sunni rulers in the face of escalating protests led by Shiites who want to end the king's hold on power. Bahrain's main opposition groups are denouncing the outside intervention.
Maryland's gay marriage bill appeared to be on track, but liberals in the state's House of Delegates failed to get the votes necessary to send the bill to the governor's desk. Paul Strain has that story from Annapolis.
In the only public hearing the House of Delegates held this year on same-sex marriage, a number of openly gay delegates asked their colleagues to legalize it as a matter of civil rights.
Like everyone else on this panel, I see this as a very important civil rights issue.
Your courageousness in continuing Maryland's tradition of righting social injustice is before you right now.
But the gay marriage advocates just couldn't muster the votes and gave up the fight, at least for this year. It's widely acknowledged it was Maryland's black pastors and churchgoers who stopped the effort dead in its tracks. Just not buying this was about civil rights.
This is not a civil rights issue. This is an issue where there are a group of radical folks that want to push an agenda and want to redefine it for everybody else.
It took the church coming out, the black church, and telling its representatives, don't listen to the party leadership, understand that you're going to have to come back to your own community. And they see you sort of as lemmings who are willing to just march off to your death when it really and truly there will be a price to pay.
A key moment in the battle might have come when Delegate Louise Simmons, a gay marriage advocate, riled up opponents by joking about the objections of religious people.
How can we address the celestial arguments of the opponents of same-sex marriage who truly believe that they can decipher, translate, and represent the position of God on the question of same-sex marriage? Mr. Chairman, I have checked the witness list, and God has not signed up either for or against the bill. There are some things...
The failure of lawmakers to legalize gay marriage here in Maryland comes as a bit of a surprise. The more conservative Senate had already passed it, and it was thought it was a shoo-in in the liberal House of Delegates. Not so. Paul Strand, CBN News, reporting from Annapolis, Maryland.
Up next, playing the hate card. Some say one group's stand for the traditional family is spreading hate.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, call now for a new pain-free meter. These new meters are more accurate, they're easier to use, and the best news is you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. Call now, and Arriva Medical will send you one of these new meters for free. And if you have Medicare, your testing supplies may also be covered. Arriva makes it simple. They bill Medicare directly. There are no upfront costs. And they deliver your supplies right to your door for free. With these new meters, there's no coding, you don't have to prick your fingers, and some of these meters even talk.
Your blood glucose reading is 122.
And if you call 1-800-284-9762, we will send you a free Betty Crocker Diabetes Cookbook filled with delicious recipes.
Call Arriva today. You'd be glad you did.
Attention investors, now is the time to protect your retirement accounts and investments. Excessive government spending is devaluing the U.S. dollar and high rates of inflation are coming. Gold has tripled since 2001, and some experts predict the prices will climb another 100%. Buy gold now, direct and wholesale with United Gold Group. The demand for gold around the world is higher than ever. Foreign countries like China and India are buying up gold at record rates. Why? What do they know that you don't?
Call now and get your Gold Investors Kit absolutely free. Call in the next 5 minutes and receive The Secret to Owning Gold in Your Retirement Account, also absolutely free. Just call 1-800-758-5070. That's 1-800-758-5070.
This could be the most important call you make this year. United Gold Group, investing in America's future.
Historically, the term hate group has meant organizations like the Ku Klux Klan or neo-Nazis.
But today, Christian and pro-family groups are also being referred to as hate groups. Mark Martin has more on this disturbing trend in tonight's Focus Report.
I hate them because they exist.
America is no stranger to hate.
Even though hate like this still exists today, it has been crippled thanks to the legacy of the civil rights movement.
I have a dream.
One watchdog group born from the movement is the Southern Poverty Law Center, founded in 1971. Located in the Deep South, it even features a hate map on its website, counting more than 1,000 active hate groups in the United States. But the recent inclusion of Christian and pro-family organizations as hate groups is raising questions. SPLC leaders label them as anti-gay groups, spreading lies about homosexuality that could lead to violence against gays. A recent issue of the SPLC's magazine Intelligence Report claims that gays are the most targeted minority in America. The magazine listed 13 organizations as haters because of their stance on homosexuality. Among those added to the hate groups list this year, the Christian organization Family Research Council. Editor Mark Potok helped put the hate list together. He tells CBN News just because a group believes homosexuality is unbiblical does not earn it a spot on the list. He says if the organization engages in name-calling and spouts arguments the Southern Poverty Law Center believes have been proven untrue, then it's a hate group.
While I'm not absolutely trying to draw a comparison between, say, the Family Research Council and a neo-Nazi organization, it does meet our criteria. The FRC does engage, certainly in our view, in the propagation of known falsehoods in an effort to defame gay people.
Peter Sprigg of the Family Research Council says the SPLC's accusations are not true.
I don't expect everyone to agree with some of the things that we assert about the homosexual lifestyle, but we do present evidence in support of those assertions, and they are certainly not falsehoods or fabrications.
One of the most explosive assertions links gay men to pedophilia. Sprigg has written that most men who engage in molesting boys, quote, identify themselves as homosexual or bisexual, citing an academic study in the archives of sexual behavior.
They actually interviewed child molesters, convicted child molesters, who had molested boys, and they found that 86% of the men who molested boys identified themselves as homosexual or bisexual.
Sprigg acknowledges this link is controversial and requires more research, but he tells CBN News the FRC welcomes the debate.
There is significant evidence in support of the position that we've taken, and we don't think the debate should be shut off by these gratuitous charges of hate.
The Family Research Council is spreading that through the message, "Start debating, stop hating." They put up a billboard in Montgomery near the SPLC's headquarters. Sprigg says standing against homosexuality does not make him a hater.
If somebody is labeled a hate group, it means that you not only are saying that what they argue is wrong, but you are claiming to know their motives. As Christians, we believe that everyone, every human being is created in the image of God. That is the highest respect that we can give to their personal identity.
Another question is whether it's right that so-called anti-gay views be equated with racism. Bishop Harry Jackson says no. He has taken a stand against homosexuality, and one time the SPLC labeled him a hater. Jackson believes the organization has lost its way.
It's really just a veneer for gay activism at this point.
Jackson says the racism his father encountered in the South can truly be labeled hate.
My dad, when he was growing up, had a paper route. And on several occasions, he saw the lifeless bodies of African-American men who had been mutilated and tortured, hanging from trees.
Our purpose is not to say that the Family Research Council or another one of these organizations is the same as the Klan. That's clearly not true. But the fact is that for 30 years we have had on this list groups that merely engage in propaganda.
They have expanded their targets, targeting groups that in fact are not hate groups at all, but are just simply hold politically incorrect positions on certain issues like homosexuality.
Mark Martin, CBN News, Washington, D.C. and Montgomery, Alabama.
Up next, still a cause for joy. Families reunite amid the devastation in Japan.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, call now for a new pain-free meter. These new meters are more accurate, they're easier to use, and the best news is you don't have to prick your fingers anymore. Call now, and Arriva Medical will send you one of these new meters for free. And if you have Medicare, your testing supplies may also be covered. Arriva makes it simple. They bill Medicare directly. There are no upfront costs. And they deliver your supplies right to your door for free. With these new meters, there's no coding, you don't have to prick your fingers, and some of these meters even talk.
Your blood glucose reading is 122.
And if you call 1-800-284-9762, we will send you a free Betty Crocker Diabetes Cookbook filled with delicious recipes.
Call Arriva today. You'd be glad you did.
Attention investors, now is the time to protect your retirement accounts and investments. Excessive government spending is devaluing the US dollar and high rates of inflation are coming. Gold has tripled since 2001 and some experts predict the prices will climb another 100%. Buy gold now, direct and wholesale with United Gold Group. The demand for gold around the world is higher than ever. Foreign countries like China and India are buying up gold at record rates. Why? What do they know that you don't?
Call now and get your Gold Investors Kit absolutely free. Call in the next 5 minutes and receive The Secret to Owning Gold in Your Retirement Account, also absolutely free. Just call 1-800-758-5070. That's 1-800-758-5070.
This could be the most important call you make this year. United Gold Group, investing in America's future.
There is some good news surfacing from the rescue efforts in Japan.
In the shadow of the devastating earthquake, glimmers of hope are emerging.
Intimate and emotional reunions like this one are taking place as families and rescue crews search for missing loved ones. In another part of town, rescue teams pull a small boy and his grandmother from their destroyed home. You can hear family calling out his name as they wait for their little boy. This mother waited 24 hours, choking back tears to find out if her little girl had survived. You can hear her say, "I don't know how many hours it's been, just glad to hold her in my arms." And this woman, separated from her mom, rushes to a nearby shelter. She searches room after room, asking, "Have you seen my mom?" Miraculously, another happy embrace.
The emotional toll is incredible, isn't it? Well, these are just some of the welcome signs of life as Japan struggles to return to normalcy. And that's going to do it for this edition of NewsWatch.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.
Good night.